Well, here we are at the callousing bed, and I am just checking rose cuttings that have been taken about 3.5 weeks ago, almost a month. I've only watered this bed once. We've had a little bit of rain, nice cold weather, which I love, and I just wanted to show you after 3 weeks how we're going. Let's have a look. So you can take a look at these gorgeous looking calluses. Now, if you're growing roses from cuttings, this is the first process to doing that. The cutting itself will develop calluses, and these calluses will generate the first root shoots, basically. And you can see how nice and healthy they're looking. And by the way, after I take the cuttings, I usually keep them in water overnight just to give them a good soak. Then the next day I will recut them again, and I will dip them in a rooting hormone. Just one $6 one that I get online. Doesn't matter what it is, basically, because at the end of the day it's all the same type of protein or amino acid, whatever it is that they use. I can't remember the name of it offhand. But you can see how well some are developing. Now you've got to remember, a lot of these are hybrids and different cultivars, so some are going to respond to the treatment better than others. And if you keep the sawdust too moist, they will rot. So it's a fine practice, a fine line of having enough moisture so they don't dry out. And you can see here there's only a couple in this one, because these were taken more recently, other than these ones here, as opposed to these ones. And over here I haven't even lifted these, so I have not touched these for about 3 weeks. So let's take a look. Always wearing gloves because I'm always pricking myself. So let's take a look at these. You can start to see a little bit of callousing happening over here, but not so much. Not so much on this section just yet, so that's going to need another 3 weeks or so. And over here, let's take a look at these. Well, this one's got a little bit of callousing. These here, I also thought I'd try my luck with a bit of rosemary in here. These are looking better. Look at those lovely looking calluses. This one at the top here, she's looking like she's about to put some roots down. No pun intended. But you can see this process, real trial and error. And believe me, I have had mine. But I finally feel I have worked out the formula of getting your cuttings to root. And the first process is developing the callus. Now, as you can see, I have a bed of sawdust. You could use peat moss, you could use coconut grit, you could use a mix of sand and vermiculite. What you need to try and accomplish in this respect is porosity. You want airflow through here, because there's nothing worse for a new cutting to be damp all the time, because you will most likely get rotting. So, so making sure it's a little damp. You can see there's a little moisture in there, not too damp. Like I said, I only watered this bed with this watering can here just once, plus some rain. But if it gets too damp, you're going to run into rotting issues. So just a little bit of dampness. And so what I'm going to do after checking is I'm going to put them back in the bed for another week. I actually may come back in a couple days and sift some of these out and put in a porous kind of soil mix. So with a lot of drainage, not too wet. And the best thing about doing this in winter is that you do not need to water too much, because they will not dry out. as opposed if you were doing this in the summer, you're more likely to have the tops dry out and the bases getting too hot, getting too moist, creating fungal issues and rotting. So this is quite dry in here. Sawdust is fantastic for maintaining moisture, and it's the perfect kind of medium for root cuttings. I'm using this because it's available in my area, but you could get away with using sand, with perlite, vermiculite. Really depends on what you're trying to root, basically. So there you have it. We're at stage 1 of rooting rose cuttings, and obviously you don't have to do it this way, but I like to do it this way. I like to give them a good kickstart, and then eventually put them in a porous soil mix. Good luck with rooting your own cuttings. Happy gardening.